Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And yes, I did get new glasses. And today we are actually going to be ranking all of the Pixar movies. Now, there might be actually some controversy, like people have different opinions, and one movie is probably going to anger a lot of fans, but okay. Okay, so number 22. Okay. Okay, let's get started at the bottom. We go tier 1. There's 4 tiers. Tier 4 is like the they're good, but not as good as the other ones. Tier 3 is like the tier 4 and 3 are like the meh tier. And tier 2 and tier 1 are like the best. So let's get started. Number 22, Brave. I don't. I. Brave just felt way too much like a regular Disney movie. Okay, Brave just felt too much like a regular Disney movie to me. Okay, let's get going. The Good Dinosaur. Good animation, decent story, decent characters. It's not bad, it's just. It's only the animation that puts it above Brave. Number 20, Cars 3. I just didn't like it as much as the other two. And I know that's gonna shock some people, but it's my list. Don't hate. Number 19, Toy Story 4. Completely unnecessary. I liked it, but it just felt completely unnecessary. A Bug's Life. Haven't seen that in a long time. Finding Dory. Not as good as Finding Nemo. I like it, but it's not as good as Finding Nemo. Onward. This one I debated putting Onward and Cars. I debated between Cars and Onward. I ended up putting Cars higher than Onward because I grew up with it, and I actually liked it more. Okay, tier 3. 15, Coco. 13, because 13, I put two movies at number 1, so that's why. 13, I have Finding Nemo. 12, I've got Cars. 11, Monsters University. Number 10, Ratatouille. Number 10, Ratatouille. 9, Monsters, Inc. 8, WALL-E. Number 7, Toy Story. 6, Toy Story 3. And here's where the controversial one is going to be. Number 5, Inside Out. Number 4, Up. And number 3, do not hate me in the comments. Cars 2. I'm going to explain that. I am so going to explain that. 2, Toy Story 2. And number 1, Incredibles/Incredibles 2. I freaking love The Incredibles. I couldn't decide between Incredibles and Incredibles 2. They're both that good. Now, for Cars 2, I like it the best because of the whole spy element. It's not the greatest story, but the spy element actually gave me that almost almost like James Bond feel with cars. And I love the music. I like the they put a lot more pop music in, a lot more of the soundtrack, more so than the actual pop music in Cars 2. I like that. And the characters, while some of the characters weren't that great, a lot of them are really, really good. A lot of them are really, really, really good. Um, and I just like Cars 2 the best. And I have a and some of my friends actually someone agree with. Now, I had I had Cars 2 and Toy Story 2 go back and forth throughout this entire list, and I eventually decided Toy Story 2 is better than Cars 2, but Cars 2 is not the worst. So I put it at number 3, and I put Toy Story 2 at number 2. Now, both The Incredibles movies at number 1. I know this is gonna shock a lot of people, but also not. The Cars 2 thing is probably gonna shock a lot of people. I just couldn't decide. And I like both. The Incredibles, especially the original Incredibles, is so creative. Like, it's probably the most creative superhero movie ever. I mean, the villain, you actually somewhat get where he's coming from. Like, Syndrome was the first supervillain that I actually sympathized with. Now, as time went on, I I sympathized with a lot more supervillains. Thanos and Loki. Thanos, like, for example, Thanos and Loki and Vulture. Mainly MCU villains, but eh. But Incredibles 2 just has that like almost like 60s spy spy feel to it with superpowers. Whereas Incredibles 1 felt like a superhero movie, Incredibles 2 like felt a superhero movie mixed in with spy elements. Which I also feel like Elastigirl could make a good spy. But whatever. I feel like Elastigirl could make a good fit for a spy character. Like, take out the elastic powers, and she actually looks like a spy. And it was kind of cool seeing Elastigirl take the lead, and Elastigirl take the lead in this movie. But but enough of that. Toy Story 2. I love Toy Story 2. The villain, although Monsters Inc. has the best twist villain, Stinky Pete. Stinky freaking Pete is that. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. But the twist villain of Stinky Pete was so well executed. And up. First 10 minutes is the saddest 10 minutes in cinematic history. Like, Up is literally the saddest 10 minutes in cinematic history. Endgame might... Endgame might top that? Saddest 5 minutes? But, you know, whatever. And if you believe in the Emma Jean theory, it actually becomes a lot more sad. Like, yeah, I would have liked to see Carl and Ellie's time in school. Like, I would have liked to see that. But Inside Out, emotional roller coaster all the way through. The big parent one. The big parent Pixar movie. Like, when you look at it as a kid, it's emotional, but when you look at it as a parent, but when you go back and watch it as a parent, it is so much more emotional. But, you know, it 4 out of the top 5 are good, in most people's opinion. In most lists, Cars 2 is the black sheep. Like, it is the black sheep. But I put it up here just because of the 60s, like, spy. It felt, you know what it reminded me of? Even though it came out, same year? X-Men First Class. It had, like, that James Bond spy, feel to it. But, you know, I love the music, the characters, and the protagonist being Mater. I love Mater, even though I would have... That's the one thing about Cars 3 that they wanted to forget Cars 2 and just make Cars 3, which for people like me who like Cars 2, which I know is not a lot of people, but I'll make a video on why I like Cars 2. But, you know, Cars 3 would have been a little bit more rewarding if they had at least referenced Cars 2. Like, at the very least, like, have, like, at least they put, Jeff Gorvette in Cars 3. That was nice. That was a nice, cameo. That was a nice cameo. But I would have loved to see, like, there's a post-credit scene for Cars 3. Mater gets a call, and after it says hello, it just cuts. Like, we don't see who he's talking to. Or we don't hear who he's talking to. Or we don't get any information on who he's talking to, which was a complete missed opportunity to include, mention Holly or someone. Which, again, Holly was a great character in Cars 2. Finn and Holly were, probably the best characters in that movie, other than Miles Axelrod. I'm just gonna stop talking about Cars 2. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this ranking. I know this is very decisive ranking, especially Pixar movies. But especially since it's Pixar movies. But it's my list, so take it with a grain of salt. It's my opinion. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe. And and ring that bell so you don't miss a single upload. And as always, may the force be with you, and have a great day. Peace.